freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your day one recap for this week's President's Cup. Kyle Porter is here to help me break it all down. And KP, the first tee time today was 11:35. At about 11:33, the rain moved out, the clouds opened, the sun peeked through, and I thought that was a great sign for the internationals. Spoiler alert, it was not.
Yeah, I think the rain and the clouds moved to the international team room at that point. Because, I mean, we don't have a lot to recap if you watched it. It was, you know, it was interesting because it was, if you didn't watch any golf today and you just look at the scorecards and the leaderboard, you're like, oh, it's kind of close. It was not. Like, it never felt like, was there even a match where you're like, I don't know, this could go either way?
No. And it was not there were opportunities late in the day for putts to drop for either the internationals to take a lead in a match, maybe, scratch out half a point, and none of those opportunities got converted. None of them.
No. I mean, it was, it's interesting if you look at kind of what happened today. This is not universally true, but I would kind of sum it up, Rick, by saying the international team had, for the most part, one guy that played very well and one guy that played horribly. And the U.S. team, for the most part, had two guys that played pretty good. Like, nobody that shot 62. Right, but two guys like Cantlay and or not Cantlay, Xander and Finau. They kind of just ham and eggs. Like, they both struggled a little bit at times, but on the international side, you had guys that were making. Sungjae didn't make a birdie.
Yeah, that's impossible. They played preferred lies. It's a golf course that was pretty darn easy. That's impossible to do.
And so that was the part to me where you watch it unfold and you're like, it didn't really feel as close as, I mean, Rick, the international team, and I want to hear what it was like out there because I'm obviously just seeing it on TV. The international team only led one of the matches after the fourth hole.
Yeah, and well, this is a good segue into this because the first match, Ben On and Jason Day won the first hole. So they go out. So Finau, Xander Schauffele versus Ben On and Jason Day. So first group goes out. They win the first hole. The gold flag is on the board. Everybody is all fired up. That didn't last very long. Finau and Xander bounce back and win the very next hole, the second, and would go on to win this match. We'll talk about some of the shots at the end. But KP, it was like being in church, man. You could hear a pin drop out there. There was nothing. And I don't blame the fans. There was nothing to really get all that excited about.
Not even a mega church, like a small town church.
Just like a Saturday night service, and just like, I could hear a mouse running through that place.
Yeah, it was tough to watch. I'm sorry for people watching. I've got a broken microphone here. I'm going to try to hold it up. Did you ever have to, when you played high school baseball or college, did you ever have to run a lap with your bat over your head?
No, we ran laps, but never with the bat over the head. Is that a punishment?
Yeah, it's because it doesn't sound that hard. And then you do it and you run like half a lap around the track and you're like, I don't think I can physically do this. That's what this holding this mic up is gonna be like for the next 20 minutes or so. Yeah, this match, the first match, I thought Cantlay was awesome late. The 2-3 at the end was just very this guy, I keep calling him Cantlay. They're just, connected at the hip, those two. Xander was awesome at the end. He had some really cool. I've actually come to really appreciate watching him play golf. He had some really cool shots, especially with his wedges. He just hit some really like slick, nifty shots, and he did that a lot on Thursday, and then finish it off with two great iron shots at the very end. So he kind of, but you see the ham and egg here, right? Finau made 4, right. Xander made 5, and then I guess this international team was okay. They didn't have one guy that was specifically bad, but Xander was just too much to overcome.
This might have been, I mean, Pendrith played well, but this team, at least I thought, was hopeful. You know, they got a gift from Xander and Tony Finau, who both missed short putts on 16 to square that match. And they both, I thought, late hit some really good putts. I'm speaking of Ben On, Jason Day, that touched the lip and did not drop millimeters away from changing the course of this match. And then Xander, who all of a sudden's got coconuts the size of Canada, stuffs one in there on 18 to close them out. And it's just like, it was splendid. I didn't think that Day and On were horrible.
Yeah. Canadian coconuts,
indeed.
I didn't know where that was going.
Match number 2. Collin Morikawa, Sahith Theegala win 1-up over Min-Woo Lee and Adam Scott. This was an early lead for the Americans. They won
pillow
the
fight
hole. That is really the story here. There were 3 birdies made by the international squad. There were 4 made by Collin himself, and then Sahith tapped one in finally on 18 to earn his first birdie and earn one of the few scores that they used throughout him for the day. But there was really, and that doesn't even go to say, like, Adam Scott hit one of the worst putts I've ever seen. I think was that on 17 or 18? And like, it's a 20-foot putt that comes up 12 feet short. These guys stunk.
It had to be 17 because he made a birdie on 18. He made that long birdie to force Sahith.
Yeah,
this is what I'm talking about, though, Rick. Like, the internationals should win this match, right? You've got Morikawa's playing pretty well. Sahith, rookie, doesn't like I mean, even afterwards, he seemed a little bit overwhelmed by just the whole thing, which understandably so. Like, totally get it. Adam Scott plays great all summer. Min-Woo's like their electric factory, and they make 3 birdies combined. Like, you just can't do, like, you just can't do it. And Rick, this is the match that went the longest in terms of the international team having a chance to win. This was the only match that they led after the 4th hole.
Right. Yeah, they led up until they led through 11, and then the Americans won 12 to square it. Min-Woo Lee was in the middle of the fairway on a par 5 with a 7-iron. And I mean, Min-Woo Lee's approach play is a huge problem. And we knew that statistically, but it crumbled under pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't great. I don't know, man. It was, the whole thing was just tough to watch.
We've got 3 more matches to go. And spoiler, all of them are red flags next to their names. A 5.
There was a lot of red flags today in more ways than one.
That's good. A 5-0 sweep for the Americans in Thursday 4-ball, a format that they actually haven't been as good in President's Cups as they'll play tomorrow. We'll talk about those final 3 matches and try to figure out what the path forward is after a quick word from our partners.
At CBS Sports Golazo Network, we're bringing you the game.
Madness of Messi arrives!
Breaking down the game.
This is unlike anything else in the world.
And changing the game.
Get it all for nil.
That means free.
Whoa.
And all day long!
24/7.
And we're back. The biggest victory of the day comes from Russell Henley and Scottie Scheffler. Maybe a little bit of an uncharacteristic duo, but they go out and beat Sungjae Im and Tom Kim 3-2. An immediate red square on the board when Henley birdies the first, and at no point in this match after that did the internationals even get it back to all square. KP, you mentioned it earlier. Sungjae Im was birdieless on this Thursday, and it's just, that's not going to work against the number 1 player in the world.
I mean, it looks like they're playing a US Open course if you just look at these scorecards. Looks like they're playing Aaron Hills. Not even Aaron Hills, like Shinnecock. I mean, what Sung Jae Im doesn't make a birdie. I don't know what his birdie percentage is. I would guess it's top 15 on tour, top 20. It's got to be, right? Scheffler's 1. I think I saw Sam Burns was 2 last year. I think Smartin had that. I have to think Sung Jae is up there in the top, maybe top 25. I don't know.
I can tell you. He is, if you go by birdie average, which is what I have on my screen right now, he is 8th. If you go by birdie or better, he is 16th. So there you go. On tour. Makes a ton of birdies.
Yeah, there you go. This one was at least entertaining because Tom Kim tried to.
Yeah.
I don't. Were you with this group?
No, I wasn't. But I kind of flipped over there. Yeah. What do you think about? And of course they are good buddies and they play a lot of matches together. But Tom Kim at least tried to talk trash and get under the skin of the number 1 player in the world, Scottie Scheffler. It did not necessarily work out well.
It did not. Although Tom Kim was not necessarily the problem either. He played fine.
No, he was not.
I thought, Rick, that like Tom Kim, I think was like, it was a little bit of a bit. And I don't know that Scottie was doing a bit. I think Scottie was like, yeah, we're not going to do that. Like, I'm going to dunk on you. And then we're going to win 3 and 2.
Better than the early walk is the early yell. Scottie was yelling before the ball fell into the cup, which was awesome.
It felt like a Kirk Cousins moment.
I love that clip.
Right?
What did he say?
You like that?
You like that?
That's what it felt like.
Like going out of his way to like find a camera and point at it. And
Well, I can't. I don't even remember what Scottie said now. What did Scottie say?
he said, "What's that now?" or something like that. He said, "Oh,
That's what I'm saying. It's a very Kirk Cousins-y thing to say."
What did he say, Josh? He said, "What was that?"
I pulled a video and said, "This is what Scottie says anytime a cop gets within 25 yards of him."
Dude, I don't. Okay, so I think I put it in our group chat. I was driving in this morning and it was dark and rainy, and the crossing guards are wearing yellow reflective stuff.
No.
The cops are
Can't do
wearing the same thing. The security is wearing the same thing. I'm like, thank God they're coming on the team bus today.
Yeah. He needs a team bus at the majors from now on.
Match. I think this is interesting.
Real quick, Henley was great, by the way.
As expected. I mean, he's awesome, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's steady Eddie, but he makes enough birdies. The putter is good. He can alleviate a lot of pressure by playing out of the fairway and hitting greens. He is a really, really good player in this type of format. So yeah, I mean, we'll talk. Oh, I'll save that for the end, but I'm interested to see what happens with some of these pairings for tomorrow.
Well, you know where Henley would have been helpful.
Where's that? Oh, Rome.
Maybe Ricky Fowler replay. I tried to make a late case for Henley over Fowler, and it just got like batted away. Like, go away, you peon.
You know who else would have been pretty good in Rome?
The
Keegan
evidence is
Bradley.
Yeah.
So my big thing before the week started was what do you do with Wyndham Clark? And Jim Furyk said, let's just take crazy Wyndham and put crazy Keegan with him and let these two just go nuts. Another first hole victory for the Americans. Keegan Bradley, I think I saw he made 6 putts of 10 feet or longer, gave us the full-on fist pump in all of those. And despite Taylor Pendrith's best efforts to keep this thing within arm's reach, he made 7 birdies. It was a one-up victory for the Americans.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about earlier, right? Where you've got Pendrith, who was awesome, like really good. Certainly made up for what he did in 2022 at Quail Hollow. and Seabez, who was he might have shot over par. I think he did shoot over par.
He did, yeah. For his counting scores, he was. Oh, I'm sorry. His counting scores, he was even. Yeah.
I mean, and again, this was not a difficult golf course.
The big problem is late. He had a handful of, let's call them 7 to 10 footers. They're not gimmies, but they're makeable. And that's his strength. That is why he is on this team. It is what you need from him. And he didn't make any of them. And it's not good.
No, it's not. Do you think Keegan will be on the Ryder Cup team?
No, I don't. Because I think he won't pick himself. And I think that his once a year win and like 2 other top 10s is not going to be enough to make the team. But he should, I want him on the team. He should pick himself if he's 8th or something like that. But I just don't think he will.
Well, you've also got Bryson Brooks, JT Spieth.
True.
Guys that are not here that you're going to have to beat out. People are kind of talking about that a little bit today because what else is there to look forward to? But I don't think he will be on. It feels like he'll be on the team right now, but think about, somebody brought up the fact that I think Kisner was on the 2022 President's Cup team.
Yeah, and think about how far that he's basically a commentator now.
Yeah, which is, again, that's 2 years versus just like a 1 year gap, but 1 year is a long time. And I think it's very difficult to play at the level you need to while still attending to all the Ryder Cup captain duties. So this is a cool week for him because I don't think this might be his last team ever.
Yeah, it actually, I mean, I think that's the favorite. I think the favorite is that this is his last team that he plays on.
Yeah.
And that's okay because he's going to go out with a win here and he might get to be the captain of a winning Ryder Cup team. It might be great.
That would be very cool.
The final match of the day, match 5, Sam Burns and Patrick Cantlay beat Corey Connors and Hideki Matsuyama 2-1. This was a match in which the internationals got off to a good start. They won the first hole. They led until hole number 5. And then as this got towards the back 9, similar story of putts not dropping. Corey Connors basically made nothing but pars, but in his defense, those were a lot of the counting scores for their team. And this flush duo did not really make anything.
I've been trying to tell you about Connors. It's
infuriating.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's just like
so infuriating.
I thought I was gonna have to go back on some stuff I said when he birdied the first. He was all fired up. I was like, oh, okay. And then, okay, yeah, 12 pars. Great. Like, I don't know. I actually like this Burns Cantlay duo. I think they're both a little surly. Burns is kind of like joyfully surly, and Cantlay is kind of like miserably surly, if that makes sense. Like they both just have a little like screw you to them in different way. It comes out in different ways, but I kind of like them together. Like I've never loved Cantlay and Xander together. They're very good together. I just don't like watching them together, but I kind of actually low-key enjoy this duo a little bit.
5-0, a clean sweep. I was looking up Montreal Expo's perfect games at one point during the day. There was one perfect game.
It wasn't Pedro?
No.
Randy Johnson?
No.
Was it somebody that I have heard of?
It's going to be a tough pull for you.
Gosh, I don't even know if I know the other Expos pitchers.
I'd be incredibly impressed if you pulled it.
Who was it?
Dennis Martinez. Oh. He did not do it in Montreal though. He did it in LA. So there has never been a perfect game pitched in Montreal.
That's until today.
Until today.
That's kind of right there on the cusp of like, you're probably not going to get it, but if you get it, like it's somebody that you've heard of. And so you feasibly could get it, but it would be pretty crazy.
The most recent no-hitter for the franchise was Scherzer, because technically they took the history with them to the Nationals. The fifth 5-0 round, 1994, 2000, 2003, 2007, and now 2024. 3 of those feats accomplished in the first round. So KP, you are Captain Jim Furyk. You go into your team room and you say what?
I think with the momentum you have, I think you say let's win on Saturday. Let's go for the. It's almost like when it's like the Warriors when they won 73. It's like let's go for the record. Let's go for something that's never happened before. That type of thing. I like legitimately. I think you say that. Yeah,
you just gotta keep your foot on the pedal. Don't. Yeah, I like that. Okay, now you're Captain Mike Weir. You go into your team room and you say.
I mean, you might just start pouring tequilas. I don't know. What do you say? I think it's just honestly like it's a bunch of platitudes and you just pray that you put up 4 points tomorrow. I mean, this is their better session, Rick. They suck at foursomes. It might be 9-1 tomorrow.
No, this is for what we talked about before this started is that the only pathway for the internationals to have a chance on Sunday was to win day one, in my opinion. And it obviously did not go that way. And they are now, I think they're now on the verge of getting just absolutely boat raced and having this thing be over on Saturday. They are starting to they're doing the matchups right now. Are you thinking, like just blow this whole thing up? And I mean, does your strategy change? I guess it doesn't. You haven't played a session of foursomes yet.
You're saying about for the internationals?
For anybody, yeah. For the internationals specifically, though.
Well, I think if you're the Americans, you go into everybody goes into this with like a couple-day plan, and you see who's hot. I think you probably stick with whatever your plan was before, because it's not like anything went. Did anything go badly? Sahith didn't play that great. That's about it.
All right, here you go. Match 6. Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele reunited again in alternate shot. They get Hideki and Sungjae Im. So gonna have to get a lot more. Got to get a lot more out of those two. I mean, are we get? I guess at this point the U.S. doesn't have any fear in running Max out.
That's such a.
It stinks that Jim Furyk is going to be like the worst captain and get an all-time historic victory.
Yeah, it's the Max thing. I saw people saying like, well, if you play him in alternate shot, he only has to hit 5 drivers if he tees off on the odd holes or whatever. And I'm like, I just don't.
The rest of his game has stunk too.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. I just don't think that's. I don't know. Maybe that is the play. I don't know.
Here we
go.
The
play is to not have him there.
Sahith and Colin Morikawa are going out together. They will face Adam Scott and Taylor Pendrith. So Pendrith gets a crafty vet in Adam Scott. Then here we go. The 2 guys who sat today for the U.S. side, Max Homa and Brian Harman, going out together. In match 8, the third match of the day, they will get Christian Bezuidenhout and Jason Day.
I think you're running Seabass back out there.
Incredible. Where's Siwoo? Put Siwoo on the golf course. Corey Connors and Mackenzie Hughes, the all-Canadian team that we were expecting. Ken Hughes makes some putts for Corey Connors in match 9. Gets Wyndham Clark and Tony Finau. That's a good one. Finau's pretty chill guy. There's the all-Canadian group that we were expecting.
You said it's Connors and
Hughes.
Mackenzie Hughes. Okay.
Yeah.
I think.
Wow. Scottie and Henley back out. Henley's going to score 5 points this week.
Yeah.
And they are going to get, I mean, there's 3 Koreans and Minwoo left on the bench. Who are they sitting here?
So the U.S. is sitting Keegan and Burns.
They're sitting Tom Kim. Yeah.
Wow.
Keegan and Burns down. Tom Kim and Minwoo Lee are down. Siwoo and Benny On are going to play Scottie Scheffler and Russell Henley. So what did Tom Kim do?
All their electricity is on the bench.
Maybe those guys just run around group to group and get the crowd all fired up.
Just to whip up the crowd. I am surprised that the U.S. is playing Sahith over Burns. I don't know.
Or Keegan. I mean, I guess you get a lot of flexibility when you're up 5-0 and you don't have to run everybody out there for 5 sessions or whatever. But yeah, I don't like this. I don't like Homa and Harmon together. I don't like Seabez going back out. I don't like Tom Kim on the bench.
Here's the problem. I think if you're the there's a lot of problems, but if you're the international team, I think you have to win those middle 3 matches.
Yeah.
Because
you're probably not going to beat Cantlay and Schauffele, and you're probably not going to beat Scottie and Henley. So if you can get through, so Sahith didn't play particularly well today.
Yeah.
Homa and Harmon have been basically the worst.
Was awesome.
Yeah, the worst 2 Americans. And then you have Corey Connors and Mackenzie Hughes, who, if they can stay on script, should be pretty good. You have to win all 3 of those.
Yeah, you do. I don't think I can play Seabez with Day over Tom. I mean, why can't you throw Tom Kim with Day?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not like in love with Tom Kim and team match play, but certainly over Seabez.
Yeah, I'm with you. Took too long to get Siwoo out there. Okay, well, those are your matches for day 2.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's over, but if you're the international team, you certainly have to win the middle 3, I think.
Win the middle 3, go to bed Friday night at what would that be?
7-3.
7-3.
I mean, maybe you can get to 3.5 points tomorrow. I don't know.
Here we are, setting the pathways to a historic comeback.
But still, like, I think on paper, 6.5 to 3.5 is, you're like, oh, that looks okay. That's a huge lead.
Yeah, because the Americans are also going to be favorites in every single match from here on out.
Yeah, and like all the singles stuff, you're just like, well, I don't. I mean, what's the pathway? I don't know.
Very narrow. Well, it's dinner time, Kyle. We will be back after the conclusion of foursomes, and of course on Saturday, 2 sessions on Saturday and Sunday singles to break down everything that's going on with the President's Cup. Any final thoughts, KP, before we get out of here?
No, I don't think so. It was I don't know if it was a fun day 1. It was an enlightening day 1. This is hilarious how far these captains are sitting apart in the presser. Are you seeing this?
Yeah, they're at the far ends of the.
It looks like they're signing a treaty to end a war or something. That's incredible.
That's really good.
They got to go like wide camera lens on it.
Last thing. If this does get, like, if the U.S. were to win this on Saturday, could that be the catalyst to changing this to a different format, a co-ed event, something of that nature? Do we need just the, we thought this was going to be the year. The internationals have been trending, the shield. They lose on Saturday night, just blow it up.
I hope so. I mean, there's no juice. Like, even like, and whatever. I like Jim Furyk. I think he's like super underrated, and I personally like him. But you watch the interviews and it's kind of just like, oh yeah, good fun week. Like everybody's excited, I feel nothing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not much better over here either.
Get them fired up tomorrow. Go get some food poisoning done. Do something.
I'm gonna tweet out something outright. Like I don't know. I'll have a Jamie Weir tweet fired up and see how far we can get it to. Let's tweet out something very controversial tomorrow.
A tweet about a hat changed the course of a $100 million event.
It's incredible. That right there is Kyle Porter. You can find him at Kyle Porter CBS. Producer Josh does all the hard work behind the scenes, and we'll be back again tomorrow. So that'll do it for the first cut. We'll see you next time.